this class available later too. So welcome. I'm going to speak at this point about what the intention I'm setting this class up around today, and then we'll deepen into our flow. So some of you may have seen a little bit of my kind of pre-post this week of what today might be about. And what I'm thinking is that there is not new, but certainly a lot of ongoing intensity in our world. And a lot of the themes that are coming up right now is this realization of, wow, we are 6 months into this pandemic and it's not over. It's still going. And we have no real clear sign yet of when it's ending. And here we are in just the midst of, maybe the middle of, a very intense time. So how do we stay open-hearted and action-oriented in a time where I think it can feel like nothing we do is going to make a difference? And in my own practice, I have been turning towards heart openers, which I always teach a little bit of, but I don't really do a whole class that often that's really just emphasizing opening up this front body. So that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to explore this relationship between the diaphragm, the heart, and the throat, because as we open up the front body, we really need to understand that they're all connected. That in a way, when we're opening up the heart, it's not isolated from that ability to really open up into the neck and throat. It's also not isolated from the need to really tether and find that ground of support in the lower body. So to get into heart openers, we actually also need to, I'm going to cut off here in my screen, but we need to ground down into the pelvis, and we need to open across the hip flexors. So we get this sense of this whole fascial web that we are kind of embraced in our own bodies. A few things to name, which I probably should have named earlier as we were getting set up, but I'll name it now, is that at one point today, it will be helpful to have either a bolster or a blanket, because we'll use that for a variation of supported fish pose. And if you even just have a folded towel or something like that, or just a pillow from your couch, something that can just give the support underneath the backside of your heart to allow you to open. And those can be helpful. The other thing, and some of you who've been taking with me regularly already know this, but I think blocks are really helpful. I'm such a fan of props. If we have a knee down, how nice to have a blanket under the knee. If we have an opportunity to come into a lunge and to extend the length of our arms by having a block underneath us, why not? You know, this is a reminder that we need to lean into support in order to open into the world. So there's no cheating when we draw upon support. It's actually a really good thing, right? Okay, so I'm going to deepen us here with a poem. We're going to go into some breath work and we'll go into practice. The poem that I want to share today is one that I had shared in a post this week. It's been with me all week. It really quite touches me again in this time of intensity. And it's called Thank You. And it's by Ross Gay. If you find yourself half naked and barefoot in the frosty grass, hearing again the earth's great sonorous moan that says, you are the air of the now and gone, that says, all you love will turn to dust, and will meet you there. Do not raise your fist. Do not raise your small voice against it, and do not take cover. Instead, curl your toes into the grass. Watch the cloud ascending from your lips. Walk through the garden's dormant splendor. Say only, thank you. Thank you. So when we recognize that all that we love will turn to dust, how do we then stay open to that thank you that arises from within? And that's our That's our task, right? So with all of that said, everything in my classes is always optional, right? If I set an intention in motion around heart opening and gratitude, and what you find in yourself is no thanks, or I feel angry even thinking about that, that's okay, that's welcome here too, right? So meeting yourself where you are rather than forcing yourself to be anything other than what is true. When we come into this next breath practice, I want to speak about one more yogic principle, which are the bandhas, the locks. And we haven't really talked about this in our classes here online, but the locks of the body help us to kind of work with the pranic movement through the body. It helps us to retain and also sustain. So one of the common locks is called Mula Bandha, or the Rootlock. And I think too often when we approach the locks in the body, we go at it forcefully. We feel like we have to grip. Sometimes Mula Bandha is taught as a way in which we're kind of stopping the flow of going to the bathroom, right? And we hold there. But what I'd like you to think about is that you're doing Mula Bandha at like 15%. That it's just a very gentle draw in, and it's not the superficial exterior muscles, but it's almost like a drawing in deep from the deep inner muscles that allow you to have a sense of tone. And you can practice this as I'm speaking about it. If you find that long spine and just a gentle lift from the low abdominal muscles, the lowest belly, the pelvic floor, and that from there, that we can actually allow the breath to rise. At the top of the breath, at the top of the inhale, you can imagine the flowering of a sunflower, right? And that as we turn over to the exhale, the sunflower releases the seed back down to the earth, bringing your attention right back down to the pelvic floor. We'll do just 3 breaths like that. Inhale, the seed plants in the earth. We draw upward, visualizing that stalk of the sunflower, the sprout growing, reaching to the sun, lengthening your spine. Inhale. At the top of the breath, the sunflower flowers, opens, and as we turn to the exhale, releases a seed, back down, planting into the earth. And again, inhale. Flowering at the top. Exhale, release. In that release, letting go of the hold in the pelvic floor, we soften and receive. Letting the seed plant at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale, drawing upward. Exhale as the seed releases to the earth. Soften and receive. One more here. Planting the seed, inhale, drawing upward. Flowering at the top. And exhale, seed releases back to the earth. Now right there, with this breath practice, if that's all that we did for the next 90 minutes, we would all come away wiser, more connected to ourselves, to our heart, right? And it is the foundation for everything that we're doing here. As we add on to that breath practice, and as we open into the heart, I'm going to invite you to explore what we call Uddiyana Bandha, that diaphragmatic lock here, in which we're drawing the ribs toward each other, creating a subtle engagement here at the diaphragm. It helps us hold that tether to center, to your core, so that when we open the heart, we don't give it all away. Right? So you can even see, if you're looking here, my hand just really representing that little bit of a tether right here where the ribs meet the sternum, and then just over your diaphragm, just engaging 15%, nothing too strong, but enough to remind you that you can stay connected. And then drawing your attention up to the throat and a gentle drawing the chin back, lengthening through the back of the spine, and a attention to the top of your palate, right? Inside your mouth. You can imagine here that it's the lid on a very sacred container, that when you engage the Mubandha, that gentle Uddiyana Bandha, that gentle throat lock, that now you have cultivated the space to hold the prana that you build in a breath or pranayamic practice. And we'll add into this a gentle Ujjayi Pranayama. Ujjayi, right? This just gentle constriction in the back of the throat, quality to the breath, a warmth to the breath, and a sensation in the back of the throat. So it's like you're fogging the mirror, but the inhale and exhale comes through the nose. Now, often when we come into Ujjayi Pranayama, we might come at it rather forcefully. Once again, scale it back to about 15%, so that it's audible within your own self, but you're not forcing the breath on anyone else. And of course, we're all in isolation and we're muted, but other than that, really just imagining that this is a gentle, nurturing, your own inner wave. Lovely. All right. We're going to add one more breath exploration before we go into our asana, or our physical practice. This one is going to involve an inhale through the nose, an exhale through the mouth, and it has 3 parts in each direction. So I'll model it for a moment. We'll do it together. The inhale is 3 sips of air into the belly, diaphragm, chest. And then the exhale, we hiss through the mouth. Shh, shh, shh. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale. Shh, shh, shh. Continuing the breath now with me. Inhale. Exhale. Shh, shh, shh. Inhale. Shh, shh, shh. Adding on, stay with the breath. This time a brief hold at the top of the inhale. Exhale. Shh, shh, shh. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Shh, shh, shh. Inhale. Add the locks as you hold at the top. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Exhale to completion. Pause at the end of the exhale, very brief. Inhale. Lovely. So just let that integrate. It's a deep breath practice. It's a beautiful one. All right, we'll come into some movements together. I'm going to slide back a little bit onto my mat. And we'll find some movements to integrate these breath practices that we've begun with here. So to start, and some of you have done this with me already, we'll just find some rotations, gentle honoring of your body. Inhale forward, exhale back. Sometimes that last breath practice can lead you to feel a little lightheaded, and that's okay actually. It's just the release of nitric oxide, healthy, natural in the body, and it actually can feel a little good to surrender to that lightheadedness so that we can ground back in. Inhale forward, exhale back. And not too long here, let's go the opposite direction. Lovely. And inhale to center. Exhale, hands to shins, ankles, just releasing the spine back. And inhale, heart forward, shoulders back. Moving with your rhythm. I'll ask you to explore drawing shoulder blades toward each other on that inhale, really squeezing and massaging the back of the heart, and as you exhale, expanding that space. So around our physical heart, we have a fascial sac, a kind of holding container for the heart called the pericardium. In Chinese medicine referred to as the heart protector. And as we explore opening the heart, we need to kind of knock at the door gently of the heart protector and see if we have access, right? Can we have our way in, but we never come in forcefully. It's with the most gentle seeds of intention and a deep, humble request. The pericardium attaches from the back of the heart to the spine. So sometimes if you get that little tinge of pain behind your left shoulder blade, it's the pericardium that's talking there. Let's add in here, bringing hands to shoulders, and inhale, open the elbows, lift the throat, the chin on the exhale. Let's tuck it all in, honoring your rhythms, your breath. Wonderful. Let's add in here another breath practice. This is lion's breath. And just exhale through the mouth with a sound. Inhale. Honoring that lungs can be holders of grief. Letting go. Releasing any stress, any tension that's not necessary. And then we'll open the arms here. Draw fingertips open wide like wing. And exhale, we'll bring hands together, pressing palms. Again, breathing out, expanding the back of the heart. Inhale, expand. Exhale. One more here. And then releasing the hands down. I'll share this one from the side for a moment. We'll call this seated porpoise. And just like you're taking your body through water, allowing yourself to let the head lead as your spine loosens. Let yourself find your flow of breath. Rolling back and forth across its bones. Beautiful. And that next time you roll forward, come slowly and bring your hands forward. Just going to roll right from here into tabletop. Look at that. And if you need to get there another way, just get there another way. All welcome here. And we're going to continue our porpoise flow here. So allowing yourself to have a new range of motion as you allow that forehead, even the nose, to come through the water and cresting back. And you can take this in the opposite direction. So moving up, arching the spine, and then allowing the heart to release downward as the hips and head come up. So you are going in this reverse circle. Lovely. Coming back up through tabletop, a little C curve of the spine here. So we'll take hips and tail in the same direction, just greeting the side body, the side ribs, and then go the other way, head and hips, C curve of the spine, through center. You can really send your breath into the side of your neck. Inhale and exhale the other side. Greeting this side body, side of the neck. One more each side. Beautiful. Coming back to center. From here, we'll find Anahatasana. The Anahata is the Sanskrit name for the heart center, the heart chakra. Anahatasana is a pose that once again opens up the back side of the heart. So when we're opening up the front of the heart, we often start with the back. And we're going to walk the hands forward. This is also in English sometimes referred to as puppy dog pose. But let's call it the heart chakra pose for its true name here. And allowing yourself to lift up onto your fingertips, cupcake through your hands, and begin to lower forehead down to the earth as your hips stay lifted over the knee creases. Breathing into the armpits, into the back side of the heart. Some of you might reach the chin forward. Listen to your neck, your cervical spine here. One way or another, we're working the front side of the heart to the mat and breathing into that space behind the heart. Lifting up from here, we'll find a variation by lowering down through the elbows. And you can play around here with the distance between your elbows and your knees, but then we'll lower the forehead once again. Take palms into prayer, and if you need to lift up and look, you can. We're going to take our hands in prayer position behind the back of the head. And you can shift the distance of your elbows and the distance of elbows to knees, and adjust this just as you need to find your way in. Typically, this will bring a little more sensation into the shoulders, sending your breath to whatever speaks to you here. Beautiful. Releasing the hands, coming up through tabletop. And from here, we're going to shift the hips back to the side and legs around. We'll come into the front body a little bit more here. So for our core strengthening series, this is particularly important for today's theme of the class because we want to have the core online before we go into heart opening. We'll start here on the back, knees bent. And I'll invite you to take your hands kind of like a little triangle here over the lower belly. And when we come into this initial core engagement, it's very subtle. And once again, you may want to look to the camera for a moment. The subtlety here is that we're going to engage that Rootlock, that Nullbund, at 15%, right? A nice light engagement here. And you can imagine that your sits bones, your pubic bone, and your tailbone are all drawing toward each other. Those deep, low abdominal muscles are drawing in. And we're going to lift the hips maybe 2-3 inches off of the earth. On an exhale, we're going to lower the hips and we're going to roll them forward. So this is very subtle, but I have a little arch created between my low spine and the mat. On the inhale, a little lift. Exhale, rolling the hips down and feeling that little arch of the low spine. Moving with your breath, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Okay, beautifully done. From here, we'll take hands behind your head, elbows nice and wide. Inhale here, and exhale, lifting head and shoulders. Inhale to lower. This does not need to be real forceful. And we take it out of calisthenics by staying intentional, conscious with the breath. Inhale through the nose. If you like, exhale through the mouth. And really staying intentional around waking up through the solar plexus, the third chakra, your inner sun. That image once again of the tether between the ribs. Engagement here. We build a little bit of tapas or heat, also translated as discipline. Anchoring awareness in the core of your body. Beautiful place to connect to self-energy. Lowering down here. We'll lift up the feet this time, taking the feet together knees wide. So I'm in a little bit of a Trikonasana legs here. And inhale, we're down. Exhale, we'll lift and maybe curl the pelvis up as well. As we inhale, you might choose to send your feet a little bit forward. You'll feel that in the low abdominals. Exhale as we clamshell in and inhale to open. Beautiful. 3 more here. Let your head be heavy. If you notice you're taking this into the muscles of the neck, rest your head into your hands. Make the movement at the range that works for your body. And then we'll lower down through the upper body. We're going to send the soles of the feet up toward the ceiling. And this is a very small movement. We're going to begin to lift the soles of the feet up on a more rapid exhale, okay? And again, we're just sending the heels straight up, so toes are not coming toward the head. And it's a very small movement. You might even place your hands over that low belly. Not here long, just 6 more. Lowering down through the feet. This time, and we're coming into bridge. So once we arrive in bridge, we don't want to turn our head side to side. I think I'll be able to speak you through these variations, but if you want to look, just lower down. We're going to lift up here. This time on the exhale, inhale, we're going to lower the hips. We're going to drop out that arching of the spine, find a wider range of motion. And allow yourself to really focus on the muscles of the legs. The hamstrings, the buttocks, even the quadriceps. You can draw inner thighs toward each other. Feel that connection to your midline. 3 more like this. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Good. Lowering down for a moment, we're taking a variation on this theme. So you might walk your left foot slightly more toward midline. And then from here, extend the right leg toward the ceiling. Knee can be bent or straight, that's up to you. So now we're in a one-legged bridge. From here, exhale, inhale, lower. Exhale. We're just tapping the sacrum to the earth and lifting right back up. Beautiful. Lower down, we'll switch it out. Right foot replaces that left. And extending left. On an exhale, we lift. Inhale, lower, just a tap. Beautiful. All right, let's lower both feet down. We're going to draw knees into the chest, a little rock and roll on the spine. We call this the poor man's massage, right? But Right now we don't have as much access to touch, so let your back body really feel that contact with the earth. And when you're ready, rolling up and over the shins, we'll meet once again in a tabletop. This time, from tabletop, we're going to lower down to the forearms and step the feet back. So we're in a forearm plank. Now your forearms can be like railroad tracks, or maybe you interlace your hands. Either one is totally acceptable. And then we're going to reach the heart forward just a few inches. Inhale. And exhale, take your gaze to your toes. Now, you might notice that your hips lift and lower, but we want to minimize that as much as possible, keeping the range of movement in the upper spine. You might feel a little bit of shake here. I do. It's a good thing. You're alive. Everything's working here to support you. 2 more. Last one. And then lower the knees down. Thank you, thank you. Right? Let's come into Sphinx. We'll open the palms here so the forearms are parallel. And you can ground down through the pubic bone. Use the hands and elbows. Forearms draw back as we press the heart forward. And then come inside your heart and reach. Lovely. From here, we're going to come back up through, actually let's come through tabletop for a moment. I want to demo something real quick. So there's options for where we're going here. This is one particular posture where I really love having a block. And you don't have to have a block for it, but what the block does is it helps to space the forearms. So we'll come into dolphin with an option to come up into forearm stand. Some of you are going, no thank you, I'm not going into forearm stand. Or you might say, I want to do forearm stand, but I'd like a wall in front of me. Many of you can see I have a wall in front of me. There's no shame in having a wall there, right? If you go over the top, it's nice to have something that catches you. And you don't have to go upside down at all. Dolphin is a lovely place to be. And one of the biggest things that happens when we go into dolphin or forearm stand is the elbows want to splay out. So we want to hug them inward. Hugging to midline, we ground through the hands, through the forearms, and then we lift the hips as if going into downward facing dog. A beautiful place to play, right? We can come with the feet a little closer to the elbows. Really exploring here, that backs of the legs, back body. If you want to explore a little bit of this inversion, take just one leg, lifting it up to the air, lift to the opposite toes and back down. And then we'll switch that out, taking the opposite toes to the earth, other leg up to the sky. Lowering that foot, lowering knees. Come back to sitting for just a moment. So I'm going to demo the option here to come into Ujjayi or forearm stand. If it's new to you, sometimes it's helpful to take a look forward. If you're wanting to go in that direction, we come up just as we did dolphin. We lift a leg. It's helpful to gaze down. And then you can find a little bit of air as you press off from the earth. It's interesting to talk upside down. I won't do it too long, but that's the play. Again, nice to have, and I can see some of you going there. Have a wall behind you. And there's no right or wrong, no better nor worse. A few breaths to play, knowing that if you're staying in dolphin, you're getting all the benefits of this inversion practice. When you feel complete, with this little playful exploration, I will invite you to come to sit for a moment into either rock pose, which is sitting onto the knees, the heels. If that's too much on the knees, you can always place a bolster here, a blanket here, or you can come sitting cross-legged. And whatever space that you're choosing to integrate and rest, maybe one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly. And I'm guessing that you might notice a little bit of activity going on underneath your hands. Perhaps you sense your heartbeat. Maybe your breath has risen to meet this challenge. All of that is actually what we're going for here. We take a moment to integrate this aliveness, this sympathetic awakening in the spirit of play. To know that we can stretch your nervous system. Find these nooks and crannies of spaces where your aliveness gets hidden, and we're fueling the heart with fresh blood and oxygen. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. From here, we will come into downward facing dog. Taking your time to arrive. And you might want to walk this out a little bit, bending one knee and the other. Letting your head hang heavy or jaw loose. Let the sound out. Good. And then from here, we will inhale right leg back, gaze and forward, stepping forward, and exhale right leg forward. So in this low lunge, we will release the left knee down, and if you want a blanket or some padding or a pillow under your knee, all welcome here. And we'll begin to greet the left hip flexor. As I mentioned, we're going to come into the pelvis for this flow a little bit, support us for where we're going. You might bring the hands up here onto the front leg, lifting and lowering, breathing in, sensing. And then we've taken this hand position on the earth. We're going to find it here. We'll bring the arms up, palms together, taking the hands behind the head, behind the neck. And then as we deepen into this lunge, and you might slide your right foot forward so the knee's above the ankle, feeling the relationship between your left hip flexor, low belly, and the lift of your heart, pressing the back of your head into your forearms, finding your breath here. Beautiful. We're going to release the hands. We're going to come to the inside of the right leg and working your way into a little bit of a lizard lunge. Now you might keep that left knee lowered, or you might lift it up a little bit. You might lower your shoulders to the inside of the right knee a little. Some of you might even come to forearms. Just a few breaths. And then we'll lift up. Now here's another place where I find a block particularly helpful. So placing the block underneath the left hand, we're going to take a twist toward the right, bending through the left leg, and we'll take the right arm around. Now it might just reach like this, or you might make contact, in which case finding a little bit of a stretch across the left quadricep. So using your hand here to fold the left leg, drawing the heel towards your buttock, and then you can also kick in and press the foot in the opposite direction. One more each way, drawing the foot in, kicking it away, and then we will release. Taking hands to the earth. This time we'll curl the left toes under. We're staying on this side for a little bit longer. We're going to work our way up into Crescent Lunge. So starting here, hands to hips, finding a long spine. So we're not lifting all the way to standing yet. You can see I'm in a long line here, and then we're going to stretch the arms back like you're an airplane getting ready to take off. From here, if it works in your body, interlacing the hands and taking those connected hands down the back leg to lift through the heart. Once again, a little squeeze around the back of your heart as we draw the connected hands down the left leg. Slowly releasing the hands, lifting them up overhead. This time we're going to hook the thumbs and take the connected hands, lifting maybe a little bit of an arch as we lift the heart toward the sky. Lifting back through crescent, exhale to the earth, palms plant, right foot steps back to meet the left, walk it out. Lovely. Let's lift through the left leg, inhale, exhale forward and through. And this time we lower down through the right knee. Taking a few breaths here. Greeting this side of your body, new story to tell. And then beginning to walk your hands on top of the left knee. Maybe one hand presses into the right hip flexor, exploring that relationship between left hip flexor and your heart. We'll find this hand-arm mudra here, palms to prayer, prayer behind the back of the neck, pressing head into forearms as you descend your hips closer to the earth while lifting your heart buoyant and free. In a way, a perfect metaphor, our relationship to suffering becomes the fuel that opens the heart. Inhale, lifting up, and we'll lower the hands to the inside of the left knee. Finding your way into this lizard lunge. Maybe you curl right toes under and lift the right knee. Maybe you bend the elbows or come onto forearms. Once again, this side is different, has a new story to tell. We'll lift up from here, finding your preparation to lift up into a quad stretch, using your block, if you like, under your right hand. And we twist toward the left. So here, lifting right foot off the earth, you're already in the quad stretch. You can reach the left arm back, beautiful place to stay. You might hook onto the ankle. No right, no wrong. If you are taking hold of the foot, we then can use the arm to help open up through the front of the right quad. And then kicking the left foot into the hand, you can use that to help open the heart. Once again, each direction. And then soften and release. We're curling the right toes under And we're going to reach the arms back as we lift the right knee off the earth. Once again, we're in a long plank line here, strong body. Maybe the hands interlace, and then the hands draw back and down to lift through the heart. A little squeeze between the shoulder blades, strong in the legs, rounding, tethering between the ribs, and a lift of the heart center right here. Releasing the hands, inhale, crescent lunge. Exhale to the earth, stepping left foot back to the right. Downward facing dog. From our downward dog, gazing forward, taking a walk with your feet toward the front of your mat. Forward fold. Bending your knees as much as you'd like, ragdoll. Palms can be to earth, maybe to blocks, maybe to opposite elbows. Another opportunity to shake it out. Let your head and neck release, your jaw, your tongue, your voice. A sigh. And then softly letting the hands release down, and we'll come all the way up to standing. Once we arrive in standing, I'll share one of my favorite little arm variations for a half moon flow, and we'll take the same arm variation into our standing sequence with the warrior series as well. So my feet are wide today. You know, there are so many variations in yoga. Together, hip width, wide. Feel it out for your body. This was naturally where my legs wanted to go today. Explore where yours want to be, right? So there's no one right way to do all of this. But I want a little bit of a knee bend. I really want to feel grounded from what we've done so far. Maybe you'll join me in that. Find it in your body. Inhale, we're going to draw the arms up overhead. And here's where it gets fun. Don't worry about which side you're doing. We're just going to press hands in opposite direction. The above arm goes in the same direction as the spine. Inhale, center. Let's press the other way. And then you can make it yours. Explore your gaze. Inhale, center. Exhale, maybe you gaze down. Inhale. Maybe you gaze up. What works for your body? Beautiful. One more each side. Let it be fluid. Let it feel good. And then coming up to center. This time I'll purposefully invite you to take your feet even just a little wider. We're coming into Yogi Mudra. Again, we've done this, but hey, you can always use the strap. If your hands don't come together in any of these options here, strap it up, right? And then from here, with or without the strap, feet a little bit wider. Inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, long spine, forward fold. Bend the knees as much as you need, right? And then we'll take this connected hands or strapped hands up overhead. Once again, in our forward fold, let something just rip off your shoulders, off the crown of your head. Softly release hands towards sacrum to the earth, finding a halfway lift. Inhale. And exhale, planting hands. We'll step feet back to a high plank. From a high plank, lowering knees. I'm a little crackly today. Lowering chest, keep the hips lifted, lowering chin. Pausing for a moment in this little inchworm shape. Really feeling once again the connection of hips and heart, and then slither to the earth for Cobra. Allowing your feet to be connected. Of course, you can go wide, right? Listen to your body. And then palms under the shoulders. Your choice, how much lift of the heart, how much weight in the hands. Breathing, rolling. One more like that. And then finding your way to downward dog. You might push up through plank. Personally, I like to go through a table. Maybe you even press back to a child's pose. And when you're ready, lifting the hips. Downward facing dog. We've been here a few times now. Noticing how your relationship to this shape changes across a practice. And then from here, gazing forward, hopping or stepping your feet to the front. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen up to stand. Exhale, pressing palms one way. Open the side body. Inhale, center. Let's exhale the other way. I'm not sure where I am with the breath here, but we're good. Inhale, center. This time, let's cactus the arms. Lift through the heart. And exhale as we lift and lower, forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift. This time, exhale, step back, high plank. Exhale, lower, chaturanga. Or to the earth for Cobra, right? Inhale, over the toes, lifting to upward facing dog. Exhale, pressing back, downward facing dog. One more breath here. End of the exhale, gazing forward. Maybe you bend the knees, maybe you pounce to the top. Finding a halfway lift, however you get there at the top of the mat. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way to standing. For a moment, pausing, samastitihi. Palm to palm over the heart, or maybe palm over heart center. Maybe you sense your heartbeat once again. Perhaps coming back to what brought you to the mat today. Your intention, your why. Sometimes the intentionality of our practice shows up as pure sensation. Follow that. Releasing the hands, we'll bend the knees, Ujjayi. This time, inhale just halfway, just hands to knees here. And we'll find a little bit of a lion's breath in this shape. So a little undulation of the spine. Inhale. Through the mouth, exhale, maybe a sound. Inhale, rolling up. Good, two more. Inhale. Beautiful. Inhale to stand, draw the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale your way to downward dog. One option is to hop back into a low plank. Explore what serves your body. Once in downward facing dog, inhale, freeing the right leg back and behind, and exhale, forward and through. We'll ground into the left heel, and we'll make our way into a warrior one. So for warrior one, you can take your hands to your hips, and I like this little way in to warrior one. So warrior one, we're squaring hips to the front. Again, nothing forced. But explore for a moment the open hip and then closing the hip. Opening and closing. One more like that. Working the hips toward the front. And this time, allowing yourself to center the rib cage toward the front of the mat. We'll take the hands interlaced as we did before. Once again, using your strap if you need to, and taking the interlaced hands behind the left leg, squeezing the shoulder blades, inhale. This time, exhale, humble warrior, releasing right arm to the inside of the right knee, right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. Let your head hang, gazing at the arch of your left foot. Slowly we soften the hands by way of the sacrum to the earth. We lift up through warrior one and open to warrior two. How lovely. A little footwork, maybe widening the feet a little bit more here. And then, as promised, we'll take our arms as we did before, reaching away from the right bent leg. Right arm comes back. Left arm pushes forward, pushing hands. Maybe gaze over the left shoulder, down to the left foot. And then let's go the other way. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll move breath to movement. Inhale as you press away from the right leg. And exhale. You can imagine here that your arms are like waves on the ocean, coming to and receding from the shore. One more here. Inhale, reach away. This time, lengthen through the right leg. Lengthen through the arms. Really reach it long. And exhale, long, reach, reach, reach through the right fingertips. Rotate the hands. You can use the shin or a block or the earth for support. And then rotate the heart up toward the ceiling in Trikonasana, triangle pose. As if there was a wall behind you, allow the back of your heart to feel supported so that you can open the front of the heart just a little bit more with the breath. One more deep inhale. Exhale, let it go here. Release the gaze, bending through the right knee. Inhale through warrior two. And exhale to the earth. Right foot stepping back to meet the left. Either pressing right back to down dog, or some of you might want a little vinyasa there. I'm going to skip it. Inhale, lifting through your left leg. Gazing forward, exhale, stepping forward, grounding into the right foot. And hands to hips. We'll lift up our little exploration here, warrior one. Trade sides here so I can open up to you. And we'll find that little bit of a movement of the hips here. So we open and close. Just allowing yourself to find that range of motion and mobility. Noticing any footwork that you need to do here to support that positioning for warrior two, warrior one, excuse me. And then as you find that position of the pelvis, you can bring your hands to the rib cage, encouraging that forward. We'll inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, arms to interlace or grab your strap. And then releasing the hands as we inhale to lift the heart. A little bit of a back bend right here. Once again, feeling that relationship between hips and heart. And on an exhale, bowing humbly to the inside of your left leg. Left shoulder comes to the inner knee crease. Allowing head to be heavy. Slowly, by way of the sacrum, releasing the hands to the earth, lifting all the way up, and opening up into warrior two. Little footwork to get there, finding your stance, that supportive relationship to the earth, so we can have a fluid, open heart. And we will inhale, reaching away from the front bent leg, pressing hands. And exhale like a wave. Moving with your breath. This time, inhale, let's lengthen through the left leg. We'll go ahead and find a more linear shape with the arms. Reach and exhale, hung. Reach, reach, reach through the left fingertips and rotate the arms. You can find a little bit of a press here on the leg or a block. You can always micro bend through the knee if you have a tendency to hyperextend. And then wherever you are, let this be a heart opener, so that we can rotate heart open to the realms of potential. Feeling those right fingertips reaching up into possibility. And then softening your gaze, softening through your left knee. Inhale. And exhale. Windmilling to the earth, your way to downward dog. Once in downward facing dog. I'll invite you to inhale through the right leg once again. This time taking right knee towards your right wrist. And you can toe heel the left foot back. We'll take a moment here, finding your place here. And if this is too much on the knees, coming to the back for a supine figure four, right? Always the great modification for pigeon. You can also use a block, place it underneath your right hip so that you have more support. Once again, support is going to precede any of our opening or our reach through the heart. So allowing yourself to fine tune or roll a towel under there. And then for a few breaths, we'll descend here into resting pigeon. Again, you can place stacked palms, resting your forehead down, or rest your head onto a block, a blanket, or the mat. Here, the dance of surrender, letting go. We'll be resting more soon, but for now, we're using our Pigeon Pose to support some of the heart openers that are coming next. So for a moment, pressing back up into our pigeon prep here. And you again might choose to use a block underneath the right hip. I'm going to use that for this one. I like that variation here. And as we turn the shoulders square into the front, we're perhaps going to sense more in that left hip flexor, maybe in your quadricep. Now, some of you, and again, this is depending on you and your body, might deepen this by bending into the left knee and taking hold. Now, no right, no wrong. And once again, a strap can come in real handy here, right? So that you can lengthen your arms through a tool. In one form or another, finding your opening, you can kick the foot into the hand. Some of you might even explore the foot to the elbow crease. And to me, it doesn't matter, right? It's about what serves the purpose in your body, which is opening this front-line fascial connection between the left leg, left psoas, heart, right? Maybe hands touch. This is the full expression here in Mermaid. But no right, no wrong. Taking your time in whatever edge of sensation serves your body in this exploration. And as you're ready, we'll release out of this side, stepping back, unlooping the strap if you have it there, and taking your time in down dog to integrate that side. Now, one way to do so, you might explore lifting that left leg, stacking the hips, maybe rotating hip in its socket. And do the same with the right. And then, as you're ready, inhale left leg, left knee toward left wrist. We'll find side two. And nice and slow, attending to the story that side two has for you. Allowing yourself to settle into the hips. Maybe find your way to your back for supine figure four. Maybe a block, right? All welcome. All bodies welcome. As we explore these shapes, I invite you to remember that it is not the outer physical shape that's important. It's the metaphysical. It's that beyond the physical. It's our intentionality. Perhaps walking yourself forward into resting pigeon. It's that intentionality of presence, of focus, kindness, curiosity and non-judgment, receptivity, so even as you meet the edge of sensation, the places of discomfort in your body, sending your breath Sending your awareness right there. And from here, pressing into your hands again. You might choose a different support variation. I'm going to use a block for this one. And then we'll begin to walk the hands up. Now this is plenty, right? In my body, right side has a really different story to share than the left side. In fact, I even like a second block under my right hand here. So listen to your body. Noticing that connection of psoas and right hip flexor, right quadricep and heart. Maybe you begin to bend into the right knee. Maybe you take hold or use a strap. And allowing yourself to kick into hand and use hand to bend into the quadricep. Breathing and feeling into your body. Squaring shoulders forward as much as possible. And your variation. Some of you might explore a mermaid variation, taking toes into elbow crease, maybe hand to hand. No right, no wrong, just options. Slowly, slowly, releasing from this side. We'll make our way into downward dog. Pressing into palms, left foot stepping back into right. Downward dog. And then if you did so on the other side, maybe you lift one leg, rotate knee in the socket, open it up. Find that little movement on side two. And then from here, descending knees to the earth. Sitting once again into rock pose. This posture in itself has many wonderful benefits of allowing yourself to really support the joints of the body and lymph, and it's good for digestion. Again, if it's not right for your knees, finding a supportive variation, easy pose. We'll take a series of back bends from here. 3, all are optional. And the first one here is Ustrasana Camel, and we've done this in some other classes if you've taken with me before. In Camel, once again, we have variations as well. I'm going to show the mechanical piece of this first. We're going to tuck the toes under for this one today. We'll place the hands here to support at the low back, and right here, as you press the knees into the earth and you lift the heart, you are already in Ustrasana Camel, right? We draw elbows toward each other. We draw shoulder blades toward each other. Some of you might walk the hands down, maybe even take hold of the heels and then press the hips forward, right? So finding your variation. You can keep the chin tucked. Maybe reach the chin up and slightly back. We're not just hanging the head here. We're really active. In whatever variation you're choosing, I invite you to set an intention to love and accept yourself in this moment, just as you are. Opening your heart to yourself. Slowly lifting up, releasing the intentionality, releasing the shape, coming back to sitting into rock pose, and letting that just move through you. You've planted the seed of self-love. Receiving the shape, receiving the beyond the shape, the metaphysical intention. Maybe that slight neck lock as you lengthen through the back of the neck, a little tuck of the chin, a little muband, a little bit of that tethering at the core. You're the lid and the container, the energy of you. And then from here, gently, gently come onto your back. So we have options for where we're going, and this is a place where if you're wanting a supine fish, at least have these optionally available for where we're going next, okay? A block or a bolster or a blanket, excuse me. And first, however, we'll come into a bridge pose. So coming here, once again, knees bent. We found this earlier in our core series. This time, I'll invite a new intentionality to the posture. So as you come into bridge, I'll invite you to keep in mind in your heart someone who has loved you and someone for whom you feel love. So allowing yourself to feel grateful for the presence of that person in your life, pressing into the feet, lifting through your hips, interlacing your hands underneath your sacrum and rolling the shoulders to create a shelf for the heart. Allowing yourself to lengthen through the back of the neck, a little tuck of the chin, a little lengthening of the back of the soft palate here. And then breathe with the intentionality of gratitude for someone who has loved you. Someone for whom you feel that sense of kindness and warmth. And releasing the hands, slowly rolling all the way to the earth. Letting go of the intention, softening and receiving. And we have one more back bend in this practice. An option to repeat bridge as we just did. An option to come into wheel. If wheel's already in your practice, go there, but listen carefully. We're coming in with a third intentionality here. This time, an invitation to open your heart to someone who has hurt you. Now, you don't have to go there. It's just an optional choice. But notice what happens if you choose to. Okay? And as we prepare, if you're going into wheel pose, taking palms over your head, you can even just do it part way by coming up onto the top of the head lightly, or you're repeating your bridge, whatever's right for your body. Allowing yourself to press up to the top of the head if you're coming to wheel, grounding into the hands, lifting through the hips, pressing into the feet, and 3 deep breaths here, opening your heart to someone who has caused you suffering. Slowly releasing to the earth, allowing yourself to find what we call broken bridge, taking feet wide to the edges of the mat, softening knees inward toward each other, one palm over your belly, one palm over your heart. That was enough. Let the intention go. Let yourself be with whatever bubbles and moves within you, whatever arises as a result of this deep sacred practice. And our final supported back bend here in fish. So an option to come in without the bolster or a blanket, you bring the elbows and the forearms underneath you. You lift through the upper spine and heart and release the head back. The supported variation, which I'll offer for today, is to take a bolster or blanket. I have a very soft bolster, so I like the blanket on top of it. I also think it's nice to have a secondary little layer of support for the head behind whatever you're using to support the opening of the chest, so that you have layers of support for this next opening. And we lay back here, bolster placed at the level of the lowest rib, up toward the shoulders, and you can allow yourself to come in. This is our Shavasana option for today, our resting pose. If you prefer to find your way into a traditional Shavasana, absolutely fine. Whatever variation you're taking, find that sense of support from the earth, from the blanket, from whatever is making contact with the back side of your heart. And let yourself gently soften, so that as the support comes in for the back body, the front body melts. As we turn toward the world around us, where there is hurt, where there is suffering, as we turn toward our own experiences of hurt and suffering, we recognize that they are so often the source that inspires us to grow. When we have an opportunity to metabolize our pain, we unfold into an ability to not only love ourselves, to love others who perhaps have suffered like us, and to recognize that those who are the source of pain, who are causing pain, themselves have experienced pain. I'll close once again with our poem, Thank You. If you find yourself half naked and barefoot in the frosty grass, hearing again the earth's great sonorous moan that says you are the air of the now and gone, that says all you love will turn to dust and will meet you there, do not raise your fist. Do not raise your small voice against it. And do not take cover. Instead, curl your toes into the grass. Watch the cloud ascending from your lips. Walk through the garden's dormant splendor, saying only thank you. Thank you. Of course, you are welcome to stay in Shavasana for as long as you would like. That's the beauty of this practice in your own home, right? And for those of you that are needing to or are ready to proceed on with your day, whether it's morning or evening, very slowly reawaken the body, finding some subtle movements, fingers, toes, deep in the breath. We rotate hands around the wrists, feet around the ankles. And then rolling to one side or rocking on the spine. We meet up, sitting once again. So I am so deeply, deeply grateful for each and every one of you for spending an hour and a half of your day devoted to yourself, to this practice, to this community. Taking a final moment, if you'd like, just to receive the benefits of this class. And if you choose in your own way, extending the benefits of this practice to all beings. Namaste.